what kind of technologies are you using today to help you streamline all this work? What's your tech stack looks like?
Absolutely. And it's funny because if you talk to people who are entrepreneurs, one of the common refrains you'll hear again and again and again is, oh, I wish I had set my systems up so much earlier than I did. I wish I had had systems in place when I started. And I heard that loud and clear. So to me, there's a few things that I use pretty regularly. I used to do all of my evaluation of a property pro formas in a spreadsheet. And then I discovered this website called dealcheck.io that I use pretty regularly now. And instead of me, and again, saves time, right? So I can pick a property, it pulls in all the relevant details. I can set some parameters so like it knows what the interest rate would be and that kind of thing. And then instead of me filling out little fields in a spreadsheet, boom, it's all there. And all I have to do is tweak the numbers. Like I get my quote from the insurance agency about what the insurance cost is going to be. I figure out what the property manager is going to charge for it, plug that in. So it's any, that was a big one to me to learn how can I make decisions faster when evaluating a property. And in a competitive market, time is value. Speed is, I should say, is valuable because most of the time you're competing with other people to get a property. So if I can rule out a property much faster using this tool set, that is just a benefit to me. I can just go next and move on to the next property and realize that this one does not work for my buy box and what I'm looking for. And I think of all that has been super helpful. And the other thing, it's going to probably feel simplistic, but Google Docs and being able to share them with my property managers in terms of we actually rewrote a lease and I improved upon the lease that the property manager was using. And all of that was done through collaboration in a Google Doc. And then I'll say the third thing that I use a lot is FaceTime. And that's because when property managers, when we're looking at houses, they're using FaceTime to walk me through the property. And it doesn't always work so great when you get into a concrete basement. So that's where pictures come in. But that technology lets me see what pictures do not as a remote investor. I can see what the layout of the property is. I walk it. I can look at something that I've seen in a picture and say, hey, in the kitchen, can you focus on this thing that I saw in the photo? Is it a water stain or a shadow? Or, that kind of thing. I think that has been super helpful. And then I'll say the last system is people. I actually am part of a mastermind. And one of the guys in this mastermind happens to live in Pennsylvania. And he's like, and when I was introducing this land purchase, he's like, I drive by that area all the time. He's like, you want me to stop by and take a couple photos? And I'm like, yes, please. And it's land, right? There's no structure on it, but I'll be damned if he didn't go do that for me. And I get an email with the photos of this piece of land that, granted, I probably could have gone up and drove it, but like the connections that I have made through a Zoom meeting that we do every week allowed me to get a picture of this property in a way that I would never otherwise have gotten. So I try to leverage it wherever possible, right? I guess is the way I'll answer that.
Yeah, definitely. You need to have the right tech stack and also leveraging, whatever you can leverage. Because those systems, technologies, people, those in place makes your life so much easier and it helps you accomplish more than what you can do by yourself.
Yeah. One more I forgot to add too is ChatGPT, or I actually use Claude. And there's this great fear out today of, AI is going to take your job. No, someone using AI is going to take your job. And what I mean by that is I was able to use it in ways that just, really, really helped me. So when I was buying the piece of land, I'll give you one example of this. When I bought the land, there was something that's done called a PERC test, PERC. And it's short for a percolation test. So this is a bit of a rural property that has no ties to a sewer system. And if someone ever builds on it, they have to build what do you call it? Oh, why? A system to handle the sewage. Yeah, exactly. So they have to test the soil to ensure that you could actually put that in. And that test is called a perk test. Well, I got a copy of it back, and I am not a soil engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but I actually uploaded it into Claude, and I said, here's a perk test for this property. Please evaluate this document and tell me what I should know about it and what it means. And it went through it, and in like 30 seconds, here's an evaluation of a perk test that I would otherwise not have been able to figure out or had to pay someone to interpret for me. And what it gave me the confidence to say was the soil is good on this property. You can put a septic system in here. And but again, without that little tool, how would I have otherwise come to that conclusion? I think people sleep on AI. They've heard about it. They might know something about it, but you got to start using it, and it can streamline what you're doing in so many ways.
Yep. I mean, sometimes when I have to respond back to some guest or some question, they can do a better job than what I'm, because I'm still like my answers are short. Yeah. Because again, maybe in the technology field, I'm not as of a people's person because you write code or whatever you're trying to do. The emails are short, right?
Yeah, I got very binary, right?
But this AI does such a better job about that customer service touch to it and being polite, adding that thank yous and welcomes. Yeah. Hospitality, right?
But it's important stuff, right? Like in my W-2 job, I write what are called product description documents, and I write them myself, but then I get AI help to kind of punch up. And when I handed it to my developer, the lead developer, he's like, Jeff, I usually run all documents through Grammarly to make sure that they're, that I understand them, and they're well. He goes, you scored 100% on Grammarly. He's like, I've never seen that. And I'm like, well, it kind of wasn't me, but it was me. But that kind of thing. Like if I'm adding clarity to my conversations with an engineer so that they build the right thing, that is immensely valuable. If you're doing what you're doing and you're adding the proper greetings and salutations to foster a relationship, that is also tremendously valuable.